My dear friend, before tomorrow's sun rises, a rare dance will unfold in the heavens. The moon, clothed in Libra's gentle robes of balance and harmony, will stand directly opposite a force that seeks to challenge that balance. I call this a moment of mirrors. A time when the people around you, especially those you hold closest, will unknowingly reflect back the state of your own heart. And what you see might surprise you. In my early years as a monk, I once believed that harmony was the absence of conflict. But then, during one particularly restless season, my teacher said, "Peace is not the absence of storms, but the stillness you carry within them." At first, I did not understand. But the moon in Libra opposition taught me. The nature of opposition. When two celestial bodies oppose, it is like two voices in a conversation, each speaking from different truths. Neither is wrong, but each is convinced it holds the answer. In your relationships right now, romantic, familial, or even professional, you may feel this same pull. Misunderstandings may arise, words may sting, and yet, hidden beneath these, frictions is an invitation to listen more deeply than you speak. A wise gardener knows that when two branches grow toward each other, they sometimes scrape and wound. But with patience and careful tending, they grow stronger, intertwined, supporting each other in the winds. A story from the monastery. I remember one night, many years ago, when the moon was as full as it will be tomorrow. My closest friend in the monastery, a brother who often walked beside me in silence, spoke words that cut me deeply. They were not cruel, but they challenged my sense of truth. For 3 days I avoided him. I told myself I was practicing detachment, but in truth, I was hiding from the discomfort of being misunderstood. Then one evening, our teacher gathered us. He poured tea into our cups, but when my cup was nearly full, he kept pouring. The tea spilled over my hands. I jumped back, startled. He said softly, "Your heart is like this cup, full of your own thoughts, full of your own certainty. No new understanding can enter unless you empty yourself first." I went to my friend that night. I listened. I heard the pain behind his words. And in that listening, the opposition between us dissolved into compassion. How this affects you now. The moon in Libra. Opposition will ask you to notice where your own cup is too full. Where have you stopped listening because you are too certain you are right? Where have you pulled away instead of leaning in? And where are you seeing the flaws in others because you fear seeing them in yourself? If tomorrow you feel the tension rise, pause. Place your hand gently on your heart. Breathe. Ask silently, "What is this moment teaching me about me?" A practical exercise. Before tomorrow tonight, before you sleep, write down the names of 3 people you have felt tension with recently. Next to each name, write one thing you appreciate about them, even if it feels small. Close your eyes and imagine sending them kindness, like a warm beam of light. This is not about pretending hurt never happened. It is about making space in your heart for new understanding. To grow. A deeper cosmic reminder. The moon in Libra seeks balance, but balance is not a fixed point. It is a constant movement. Like walking, you are always shifting your weight, adjusting your step, catching yourself from falling. Relationships are the same. The opposition will shake you not to destroy you, but to help you find a truer equilibrium. And perhaps this moment is also a mirror for your relationship with yourself. Are you at war with parts of your own being? Are you harsh with your inner child? Or maybe you have been ignoring your own needs in the name of keeping peace with others. My friend, the world will tell you that oppositions are something to fear, that they signal breakdown. But the truth is more beautiful. They are invitations to break through. When the moon rises tomorrow, let it not just illuminate the sky, let it illuminate the unspoken spaces between you and the people you love. I will share with you, in our next conversation, the 3 sacred steps my teacher gave me for transforming opposition into harmony. Steps that saved not only my friendships, but my relationship with myself. When I left you, my friend, I promise to share with you the 3 sacred steps my teacher gave me. The steps that transformed opposition from a place of tension into a pathway of deeper connection. He called them the steps of the open palm. You see, a closed fist can only hold on. It cannot receive. It cannot give. But an open palm can both offer and accept. Step 1. Empty your cup. We spoke of the tea that overflowed from my cup that night in the monastery. The first step is to release your grip on your own certainty. When you meet another in opposition, your mind will instinctively cling to its version of truth. But the moment you loosen that grip, you allow space for something new to enter. In practice, this means, before responding to anyone in a heated moment, take one slow breath. Ask yourself, do I want to win this argument, or do I want to understand? I remember a villager who once came to the temple furious at his neighbor. He wanted me to decide who was right. I asked him instead to tell me his neighbor's story as if he were the neighbor himself. At first he refused, but when he tried, his voice softened. By the end, he sat in silence, shaking his head, realizing they both were hurting in the same way. Emptying your cup does not mean losing your truth. It means making space to see the whole picture. Step 2. See through the mirror, not the window. My teacher once told me, when you look at another, you are often seeing your own reflection, not just their face. Opposition is often a mirror showing us the parts of ourselves we do not wish to face. If someone's impatience angers you, perhaps you have been impatient with yourself. If someone's judgment stings, perhaps you have been judging your own worth. I once met a merchant who despised a young apprentice for being lazy. When I spoke with the merchant, I learned he had been exhausted for months, working without rest. He was projecting his own unacknowledged fatigue onto the boy. Seeing through the mirror means asking, what in me is this person's behavior touching? When you do this, opposition shifts from attack to self-discovery. Step 3. Offer the open palm. The final step is the most powerful. Once you have emptied your cup and seen through the mirror, you are ready to approach the other not as an adversary, but as a fellow traveler. Offering the open palm may be as simple as a gentle word, an act of kindness, or even the choice to listen without interruption. Sometimes the open palm is silence, a space where healing can grow. I recall a moment when a young novice in our temple made a costly mistake that affected many people. The community wanted to punish him harshly. My teacher instead invited him to tea. No lectures, no reprimands. They drank in silence for an hour. At the end, the novice broke down in tears, confessing all he had hidden, vowing to change. The open palm gave him the safety to see his own wrongdoing without being crushed by shame. Living the 3 steps. During the moon in Libra. Opposition, my dear friend, as tomorrow's moon opposes, try these steps. Empty your cup. Pause before reacting, and loosen the grip of certainty. See through the mirror. Notice the lesson about yourself hidden in the other's behavior. Offer the open palm. Meet them with openness instead of guardedness. These steps are not easy. They ask for humility. But remember, humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is seeing yourself clearly without the fog of pride or self-judgment. Now, you may be wondering, what if you follow these steps, and still, the other person refuses peace? What if they continue to oppose you, to misunderstand you, to wound you despite your openness? This is where my teacher's hidden teaching comes in. A truth he only shared with me years later, when I faced a heartbreak that even these steps could not heal. I will share with you that deeper teaching in our next time together, the lesson of the bridge that only one can build. My friend, sometimes we meet a truth that humbles us deeply. Even with your heart open, your cup empty, and your steps gentle, peace does not come. This is when my teacher spoke to me of the bridge that only one can build. The story behind the I. Teaching many years ago, I loved a friend like a brother. We shared meals, laughter, even long silences under the moon. But one season, a misunderstanding grew between us, like a thorny vine climbing an old wall. I followed the 3 steps. I emptied my cup. I looked in the mirror. I offered the open palm. Yet my friend's heart was closed, as if the shutters had been nailed tight. I went to my teacher in frustration, ready to give up. He listened, then led me outside, where a river cut through the monastery grounds. On our side was the temple garden. On the far side, a stretch of untended land. He pointed to the river and said, "What do you see?" I replied, "A river too wide to cross." He smiled gently. "That is why you must build a bridge." The nature of the one-built bridge, at first I thought he meant we should meet in the middle, that we must both build from our sides. But he shook his head. Some bridges are built by one and crossed by 2, when the time is right. He explained that in life, there will be people who cannot or will not meet you halfway. But if your love, compassion, and clarity are true, you can still build your half of the bridge. You build it with your forgiveness, your patience, your silent blessings. You build it without expectation that they will cross, yet the bridge remains should they one day choose to. This is not weakness. This is strength without chains. Why this matters under the moon in Libra. Opposition tomorrow's cosmic alignment may bring into your life exactly such a person, someone whose heart feels unreachable. You may feel the temptation to turn away entirely. But remember, building your half of the bridge is not about forcing reconciliation. It is about keeping your heart free of bitterness. Bitterness is like a locked gate within yourself. It may keep others out, but it also keeps you from walking freely. The moon in Libra reminds us that harmony does not always mean unity in the moment. It can mean planting the possibility of unity in the future. A monk's silent practice for building the bridge. When my friend and I were still apart, I would walk to the river each dawn. I would stand on the near bank, eyes closed, and imagine the bridge stretching across. I would see him on the far side, smiling. Not because the conflict was solved, but because we had remembered our humanity. In your own life, you can do the same. Visualize the bridge between you and the other person. Each day, imagine adding one plank made of patience, understanding, or kindness. Release the need for them to cross. Years later, without warning, my friend returned. He crossed the bridge I had built alone, and it felt as if no time had passed. Had I not built it, there would have been only a river between us. But my friend, there is one more truth my teacher gave me that changed how I see all opposition. Whether between people, ideas, or even the parts of our own soul. He called it the 2 rooms of the heart. And in this lesson, he revealed why sometimes we are in conflict not with others, but within ourselves. That is the teaching I will share with you next. For without understanding the 2 rooms, you cannot fully walk in harmony, no matter how many bridges you build. My dear friend, my teacher once told me, every heart is a house with 2 rooms. Most people spend their whole life living in only one. I did not understand his words at first. How could my heart have rooms? But he smiled and said, "Come, I will show you." The first room, the room of light. We walked together into the temple's oldest meditation hall. It was open to the morning sun, warm and bright. The air was filled with the scent of jasmine from the garden. "This," he said, "is the room of light. Here live your kindness, your generosity, your moments of compassion and joy. When you are here, you see the best in others and in yourself. You forgive easily. You smile without reason. You feel connected to all life." The room of light is where harmony feels effortless. You and I both know this place. It is the laughter, shared with a friend, the stillness of watching a sunset, the gentle comfort of knowing you are loved. But my teacher warned me, if you live only in the room of light, you will not be whole. You will avoid the shadows, but the shadows will not avoid you. The second room, the room of shadows. We left the meditation hall and walked down a narrow corridor into a small chamber lit only by a single candle. The air was cooler here, and the silence felt heavier. "This," he said softly, "is the room of shadows. Here live your fears, your anger, your envy, your old wounds. Most people lock this room and throw away the key, hoping never to enter. But the more you ignore it, the more it calls for you in whispers, and sometimes in storms. The room of shadows is not evil. It is simply the part of you that carries what you have not yet healed. When you are here without awareness, you may lash out, withdraw, or see enemies where there are none." Why the two rooms matter in times of opposition. During the Moon in Libra opposition, conflicts often arise because two people are speaking from different rooms of their heart. One may be in the room of light seeking peace. The other may be in the room of shadows, speaking from old hurt or fear. If you do not know which room you are in, you risk speaking from a place that deepens the divide. This is why awareness is so important. Before responding to anyone in a tense moment, ask yourself, which room am I in right now? The teaching that changed. My teacher told me, a wise person visits both rooms each day. At first I thought he meant I should dwell in my shadows as much as in my light. But no. He meant that I must not abandon any part of myself. In the room of light, I practice gratitude and connection. In the room of shadows, I sit with my fears and listen without judgment. The more I visited both rooms, the less I feared the shadows. They became not a place of punishment, but of understanding. I began to see that even my anger was sometimes just grief in disguise, longing to be heard. A practice for you tonight. Before the opposition peaks tomorrow, try this. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. Imagine walking through your heart as if it were a house. First, step into the room of light. Notice what fills you with peace and joy. Stay here for a few moments. Then, with courage, step into the room of shadows. Look around. What emotions live here? Who or what lingers in the corners? Instead of pushing them away, greet them gently. Say, I see you. I will not abandon you. My friend, harmony with others is impossible without harmony within yourself. If you are at war inside, even the gentlest words from another will sound like arrows. But when you learn to move freely between both rooms, you no longer fear the shadows, and your light becomes steady. Yet there is one more lesson my teacher gave me. His final wisdom on opposition, relationships, and the cycles of the moon. He called it the circle that cannot be broken. It is a truth about connection so deep, it remains even when people leave, even when love changes form, even when you walk separate paths. I will share this with you in our next time together. My dear friend, my teacher's last lesson to me about harmony, relationships, and the movements of life was something he called the circle that cannot be broken. It came to me during a season when people I loved deeply were leaving my life. Some by choice, some by circumstance. I felt as if the threads that tied me to the world were unraveling. The day my teacher drew a circle in the sand one morning, I found him sitting by the edge of the temple's lotus pond. He held a long stick, tracing shapes in the sand. I sat beside him in silence. After some time, he drew a perfect circle, smooth and unbroken. He looked at me and said, "This is the truth of connection." I asked him what he meant, and he told me this. Every genuine bond you form exists like this circle. You may walk away, they may walk away, seasons may change. But the connection, once it is made in truth, remains unbroken. It may not always be visible, but it is never destroyed. The misunderstanding about loss. We often believe that when someone leaves our life, the relationship is gone. But in truth, the form of the relationship changes. The essence remains. If you have ever thought of a friend after many years and felt warmth in your heart, even without speaking to them, you have touched this unbroken circle. The moon in Libra. Opposition reminds us that relationships are not linear. They do not simply begin, move in a straight line, and end. They are cyclical. People return, lessons return, love transforms, but the circle remains. How this changes the way you see conflict. When you truly understand that the circle cannot be broken, you no longer act from fear of loss. You no longer cling in desperation, nor do you cut ties in anger. Instead, you can speak your truth with kindness, knowing that the connection, if it was real, will live in the quiet spaces between you, even if you are apart. My teacher said, "The greatest harm to relationships is not disagreement, but the belief that disagreement ends love." A practice to remember the circle tonight, or in the days to come. Think of someone with whom you have had conflict, or perhaps someone who is no longer in your daily life. Close your eyes and picture the two of you standing inside a great circle, drawn on the earth. Imagine that no matter which way you turn, the circle still connects you. Feel the steadiness of that truth. Let it soften your heart. Whether or not they cross your path again, this circle will exist. Quiet, constant, unbroken. My friend, when you hold this understanding, you approach every relationship differently. Opposition no longer feels like a breaking. It feels like a bending, a turning, a part of the eternal circle's flow. And when tomorrow's moon rises into opposition, you can look at those you love and even those you struggle with, and know, we are still within the same circle. Yet, there is one final teaching my teacher gave me. His parting words before he left this world. Words about the moon, the soul, and the seasons of love. A truth that completes all I have shared with you so far. It is the final page of this journey. And in it, I will leave you with the blessing he left for me. A blessing to carry for the rest of your days. My dear friend. The last time I saw my teacher, the moon hung low in the night sky, just days before a Libra opposition, much like the one we face now. He was older then, his steps slower, his voice softer, but his eyes still held that same steady light. I knew he was leaving soon, not just the temple, but this world. And I, though a monk, could not hold back the ache in my chest. The last walk that evening, we walked together through the garden. The air smelled of sandalwood and the earth after rain. We spoke of little things, how the jasmine had bloomed early, how the koi fish in the pond had grown fat. Yet beneath our words, there was a knowing. This would be our last conversation, as student and master. Finally, we stopped at the lotus pond. The moon reflected perfectly on its still surface. He looked at me and said, "When the moon is full, it looks whole. Yet you and I know it is always in motion. It will wane, it will wax, it will disappear from sight. But has it ever truly gone? No. So it is with love, with friendship, with the soul itself." The teacher's parting blessing, he placed his hand over my heart and spoke words I have carried ever since. When opposition shakes you, let it stir the dust from your soul, so the light within can shine clearer. When loss visits you, let it be the reminder that nothing true can be taken from you. And when the road grows long and you feel alone, remember, you walk within circles that cannot be broken, guided by a moon that is never truly gone. Go into the world not seeking to win every heart, but to keep your own heart open. That is your task, your path, your peace. Returning to you, my friend, and so I return to you now, with his blessing resting between us. As tomorrow's moon in T Aridsai and Libra opposition unfolds, you will feel the shifting tides of connection. There may be moments of tension, of misunderstanding, of distance. But you now carry the tools, the 3 sacred steps of the open palm, the bridge that only one can build, the 2 rooms of the heart, the circle that cannot be broken. These are not just teachings for tomorrow, they are companions for every season of your life. A closing reflection tonight: when you look at the moon, know that you are not separate from its light. Just as it reflects the sun, you reflect the love, wisdom, and compassion that flows through you. Even in your moments of opposition, you are whole. Even in your moments of solitude, you are connected. And even in your moments of doubt, the circle holds you. May you walk gently into tomorrow. May you speak with the voice of your truest self. May you remember that in every meeting, every parting, every silence, and every embrace, the soul remains unbroken. Go with peace, my friend. Until our next meeting beneath the moon,